The town was busy that evening, lights from the market glowing like small stars, and voices of traders filling the air. In the middle of the road walked an old man, his back bent, his clothes torn, and his steps slow. People laughed when they saw him, children pointed at him, and even grown men shook their heads with mocking smiles. "Look at him," one woman whispered to her friend. "He is too weak to even carry a basket," another laughed. "Useless old man. He should just stay inside and stop wandering around." The old man heard every word, but he kept walking with quiet eyes. He never argued, he never shouted back. He simply carried a wooden stick and walked on. He had no family, no wealth, no respect in this place. To most, he was just a burden, but hidden deep inside him was something no one in that town understood. He had lived through battles, he had walked across burning planets, and he had once stood beside kings and commanders. Yet now nobody believed those stories. They said he was crazy when he spoke of them. They mocked him more that night. When the streets grew empty and the lights of the market dimmed, the old man sat near the edge of the forest. He liked the silence there. It was the only place where no one threw stones or words at him. The moonlight touched the trees and a strange wind passed through the branches. The old man closed his eyes. He was tired, tired of being hated, tired of being laughed at, tired of being alone. But suddenly he heard something. A voice, soft but clear, whispering his name at first. He thought it was a dream. He opened his eyes, but no one was there. The road was empty, the forest dark still. The voice came again, louder this time, calling his name. His heart began to beat faster. He stood slowly with his stick, his weak hands shaking. The voice did not sound human, it had an echo, a strange tone. Like music and thunder together. He stepped into the trees, his breath heavy. He followed the sound deeper into the forest. The shadows grew darker and the air colder. Then suddenly, he saw a light. A pale silver light shining between the trees. The old man froze, his legs trembled. He knew this was no ordinary light. He had seen lights like this before, long ago, during the wars. The kind of light that did not belong to humans. As he moved closer, he could see a figure in the light, tall and graceful. Her skin glowed faintly, her eyes burning like twin moons. She was not human, she was alien. And not just any alien. Her presence was heavy, like she carried the weight of a crown. The old man gasped. His stick nearly fell from his hand. He whispered to himself, "No, this cannot be. It is impossible." The figure stepped closer. Her voice, strong yet broken, spoke his name again. The old man's knees weakened because he now knew who stood before him. She was an alien queen, a ruler from far beyond. A being no one from his town would ever believe had come to see him. The queen's eyes were full of sorrow, and her body showed wounds, scars glowing faintly under her skin. Her crown was broken, her steps weak, and then, before the old man could even breathe, the queen of another world bent her head low. "Please," she whispered, "I beg you. Help me." The old man's heart thundered in his chest, his mind raced. Why would a queen so powerful bow to him? Why would she call his name when all others only mocked him? The silence of the forest grew heavy. The night seemed to pause. The old man stood frozen, his past and present crashing together. For the first time in years, someone needed him. Someone powerful, someone real. And deep in his soul he understood. This was only the beginning. The people who mocked him would soon see a truth they could never laugh at. The world was about to change. And the key to it all was the old man they called useless. The old man stood frozen in the forest, the queen's voice still ringing in his ears. Her head was bowed, her breath heavy, and the glow of her body flickered like a dying flame. The old man's hand shook as he gripped his stick. He wanted to ask questions, but his throat was dry. Finally, he whispered, Why me?" The queen lifted her head, her glowing eyes locking with his. In that gaze, he saw pain, fear, and something deeper, hope. "Because you are the last one," she said softly. "The last who remembers. The last who knows the old ways." The old man staggered back, shaking his head. No, I left that life long ago." His voice trembled. "They call me useless, they laugh at me, I am nothing now." The queen stepped closer, her voice strong. "You are not nothing, human. You are the one who saved us before. I know your name, I know your battles, you may have forgotten yourself. But I have not forgotten you." The old man closed his eyes. Memories he had buried long ago came rushing back. Images of fire burning across planets, skies full of enemy ships, the screams of soldiers and civilians. He remembered the weight of a heavy weapon in his hands, the orders shouted by commanders, and the endless days of war he had been there. He had fought in the great war between humans and the alien empires. He had seen friends fall beside him. He had led missions no one else survived. He had saved lives in places where death ruled. But when the war ended, there was no glory waiting for him. The leaders forgot his name, the medals meant nothing. He returned to live among ordinary people, carrying scars they could not see. And when he spoke of the war, they laughed. They called him a liar, an old fool, so he stopped speaking. He locked the memories away. He chose silence. He chose to live as a shadow, but now in the forest. With the alien queen before him, those memories broke free like chains snapping apart. His chest tightened, his hands trembled. For years he had tried to forget, but the past had not forgotten him. The queen touched her broken crown. Her voice lowered. My enemies are hunting me. They will destroy my people. They will destroy yours as well. Only you know the key, only you remember the weapon. It lies hidden, waiting, and without it, both our worlds will fall. The old man's breath grew heavy. His knees felt weak. He looked at her with fear and confusion. No, I cannot, I am too old, too broken, he whispered. Why do you ask this of me? Her glowing eyes softened. For the first time he saw not a queen, but a being desperate to save her world. Because no one else can, she said. You are the last living soldier who touched the ancient machine, the last one who carries its code inside you. If you refuse, then all is lost. The old man turned his face away. He thought of the villagers who mocked him. He thought of the children who threw stones. He thought of the market people who laughed whenever he passed. If they knew a queen begged him for help, they would never believe it. They would call him a liar again, but still, the truth was standing in front of him, glowing, breathing, bleeding. The queen of another world bowing before him. The old man's heart raced. His past screamed inside him. He wanted to run, he wanted to refuse. Yet a small voice inside whispered something he had not felt in years. Courage. He opened his eyes and looked at her. If I do this, he said slowly, there will be no turning back. The queen nodded, her voice steady. There never was any turning back, not for you. Not for me. The wind in the forest grew stronger, carrying a strange sound. Like the hum of engines, the old man stiffened. He recognized it instantly. It was the sound of warships, enemy warships approaching from the sky. The queen's eyes widened, she whispered, They have found me. The old man's hands tightened around his stick. His chest filled with fire he thought was gone. He straightened his back, stood tall, and for the first time in years, his voice carried strength. Then we must move, he said. The past may have been forgotten by others, but not by me. The queen's lips curved into a faint smile. And in that moment, the old man knew. His quiet days of being mocked were over. The world would soon remember who he truly was. The forest grew darker as the old man led the queen deeper into the trees. His steps careful yet determined, he glanced at her. Noticing the wounds on her arms and the glow that seemed to fade with each breath. She was regal even in weakness. Her crown cracked, her robes torn, yet she moved with dignity. I am surprised you have come so far, the old man said quietly, his voice steady despite the fear inside. The queen looked at him, her glowing eyes full of pain. I had no choice, she whispered. If I did not find you, my people would be lost forever. The old man's mind raced. He had heard of queens before. Legends told of their power, their armies and their strength. Yet this one, kneeling before him, wounded and desperate, was nothing like the stories. She was real, alive. And she needed him. Why me? He asked again, his voice low. You have countless soldiers, countless advisors. Why come to a weak old human who cannot even fight? The queen straightened slightly, her eyes burning brighter. Because you remember the code, the ancient weapon hidden on your planet. No one else alive knows it. Not even my greatest generals, you are the only hope. Human, the old man looked down. Memories rushing back, he remembered the weapon. An ancient human device, powerful beyond imagination. Its knowledge had been erased from the world, hidden by those who feared it. And only a few soldiers had survived who knew its secrets. He had been one of them. But it has been decades, he whispered. I have not thought of it for years. I am not the soldier I once was. The queen's glowing hand reached toward him. It does not matter. Strength is not required. Courage is. You have what no one else has. The code is in your mind, and only you can unlock it. The wind rustled the leaves, and shadows moved strangely between the trees. The old man stiffened, sensing he was being watched. The queen followed his gaze, her expression tense. "They are here," she said softly. "The enemy is near, they follow me. They seek the weapon." The old man's heart pounded. Fear and excitement mixed inside him. This was no longer a memory, no longer a story. It was real, and danger pressed close. "Then we must prepare," he said. "We cannot let them take you." The queen nodded. Her glowing form flickering in the darkness, she had trusted him fully, and that trust was heavy on the old man's shoulders. He looked at her again, and for the first time, he saw more than a queen. He saw a leader, someone whose life depended entirely on him. Suddenly, a loud noise broke the silence, a metallic clang echoing through the forest. The old man raised his stick. "Ready to defend?" The queen's eyes widened. "They have found us," she whispered, her voice trembling. Out of the shadows came alien soldiers. Not like the queen, their armor dark and sharp. Their eyes cold, they moved quickly. Surrounding them, ready to attack, the old man stepped forward, placing himself between the queen and the soldiers. "Stay back," he warned, his voice steady. The soldiers laughed, their voices harsh. "The old man? This is the one who holds the weapon?" One of them sneered. "He looks like a weak fool. What can he do?" The old man ignored the laughter. His mind raced. He remembered the training, the secret codes, the hidden signals of the ancient weapon. He had not used it in years, but he still knew it. He still could. The queen watched him, her eyes filled with hope. "You can do it," she whispered. "I believe in you." The old man took a deep breath, closing his eyes for a moment. The soldiers were approaching, their weapons raised. The forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting. The wind howled through the trees, carrying the scent of danger. Then the old man opened his eyes, his gaze sharp, his body straightening. A fire ignited inside him, not of strength, but of courage. He would not fail, not now, not ever. The queen's life, the lives of countless others, depended on him. He stepped forward, and the soldiers paused, sensing something they could not understand. The queen took a small step behind him, trusting, waiting, her light flickering like a flame in the wind. The old man whispered a command, almost forgotten words of the ancient weapon, words that carried power, words that could change the course of war. The trees seemed to tremble, the shadows shifted, and a strange hum filled the air. The soldiers froze, unsure, their laughter fading. The queen's eyes widened in surprise, hope growing brighter. The old man, the mocked, the laughed at, was about to prove that he was far more than anyone had ever imagined, and in that moment the forest was alive. The air thick with tension. The enemy did not know it yet, but the battle had already begun, and the old man, the one they called useless, would be the key to survival. The old man stood in the middle of the forest, the queen's glowing light behind him, casting long shadows across the ground. His heart pounded as he remembered the ancient weapon, hidden long ago, a device so powerful that only a few humans had ever known how to use it. He looked around, the dark forest trembling with the sound of distant engines. The enemy was closing in, their ships low in the sky, and their soldiers moving swiftly through the trees. "We do not have much time," the queen said softly, her voice shaking. "If they catch us, everything is lost." The old man nodded, his mind racing. He had always known this day might come, a day when the world would call on him once more. He remembered the codes, the sequences, the hidden signals that could awaken the weapon. It was not strength that mattered, it was knowledge, and he still had it. He motioned for the queen to stay close, her glowing hand resting lightly on his arm. They moved deeper into the forest, to a place he had visited in his youth, a hidden cave, secret and forgotten. The entrance was covered with vines and shadows, almost invisible to anyone who did not know its secret. Inside the cave, the air was cool and the walls hummed faintly. The old man ran his hands along the stone, feeling the hidden panels, the markings etched into the rock decades ago. This was it, the place where the weapon had been stored, waiting, hidden from the world, waiting for him. The queen's eyes widened. "It is real," she whispered. "You are not lying, human, it exists." The old man nodded, kneeling in front of the hidden console, his fingers tracing the old symbols, feeling the grooves, remembering the sequences. The knowledge had been locked in his mind for decades, yet now it returned as if no time had passed. "Remember," the queen said softly, "once you activate it, there is no turning back. It will change everything. The enemy will not stop, and neither will the war." The old man closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Not just for the queen, not just for his people, but for the entire universe. The power of the weapon was immense, and in the wrong hands, it could destroy everything. He whispered the ancient codes, the sequences flowing from his memory into the console. The cave vibrated slightly, and faint lights began to glow along the walls. A hum grew louder, almost like the forest itself was holding its breath. Watching, waiting, the queen stepped closer, her hand on his shoulder, her glowing eyes shining with hope. "You are doing it, human." "I knew you could," she whispered. Suddenly, a sound echoed from outside the cave, a sharp metallic clang. The enemy had arrived. They were closer than ever. Their soldiers were surrounding the entrance, their weapons raised, ready to attack. The old man's heart raced, but he did not panic. He had waited his whole life for this moment. The knowledge he had buried, the skills he had hidden, all came forward now, flowing through him like fire. He pressed the final sequence into the console, and the cave shook. The walls glowed brighter, ancient mechanisms whirring to life. A beam of light shot upward, piercing the night sky. Powerful and brilliant, the queen gasped, her glowing light mixing with the energy of the weapon. The enemy outside paused, staring at the sky, their ships faltering, their soldiers unsure, something they could not understand. The old man's eyes blazed with determination. He had awakened the weapon, and the balance of power was shifting. The queen looked at him with awe. "You have done it, human. You have remembered. You have unlocked it," she whispered, her voice filled with both relief and fear. "Now we can fight back." The old man stood tall, his back no longer bent. His eyes steady. He had been mocked, laughed at, forgotten, but now he held the key to survival. The weapon was theirs. But the real battle was just beginning. The enemy would not wait, and the forest was filled with shadows ready to strike. And in that moment, the old man understood. This was his chance to show the world the truth, that even the weakest, the most forgotten, the most mocked, could become the strongest if only they remembered who they were. The forest was quiet after the weapon had been activated, the glow from the cave fading into the night. The queen stood close to the old man, her hand resting lightly on his arm, but her eyes were full of worry. "They will come for us soon," she whispered. "We cannot hide forever." The old man nodded, his mind sharp, thinking of strategies, of the enemy soldiers, of the warships in the sky. But there was another threat he had not expected. Not from the aliens, not from the enemy, but from his own people. The villagers who had mocked him, laughed at him, and called him useless were watching, waiting. Their envy had grown with every word of the queen's arrival. Every story of the weapon, every whisper of power, made them greedy, and soon they made a plan. A group of humans, armed with crude weapons, moved silently through the trees, plotting to capture the queen and hand her over to the enemy in exchange for reward and favor. The old man did not notice them yet, his attention fixed on the approaching enemy soldiers. The queen looked at him nervously. "Do you feel it?" she whispered. "There is something wrong. Someone is not with us." Suddenly, a sharp shout broke the night. "There he is, the old fool." The old man turned quickly, his heart sinking. He saw the humans from his village, some with knives, some with nets, moving to capture him and the queen. His own people had betrayed him. "You promised safety," the old man shouted, anger rising in his voice. "You laughed at me, mocked me, but now you betray me?" One of the villagers stepped forward, smirking. "You hold power we cannot touch, human, and the queen. She can bring us wealth, protection, honor. We cannot let her go with you. We will take her, with or without your help." The queen gasped, stepping back, her glow flickering with fear. How can you do this?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "He saved your village and you betray him?" The old man felt a heavy weight in his chest, a mix of anger, hurt, and disbelief. These were people he had walked past for years. People who had thrown stones at him, laughed at him, called him weak, and now they showed their true faces, greedy and cruel. He looked at the queen, her eyes still trusting him, and his resolve hardened. "No," he said firmly. "I will not let you take her. Not now, not ever." The villagers hesitated. Seeing the determination in his eyes, they had always thought he was weak, useless, someone who could be ignored. But now, standing there, glowing with the courage of a lifetime, he seemed taller, stronger, more dangerous than they had ever imagined. "You cannot stop us, old man," one of them said, trying to mask fear with anger. "We have numbers, we have weapons, and soon we will have her." The old man's lips curled into a faint smile. "You still do not understand," he said softly. "Power is not always in numbers. It is in knowledge, it is in courage, it is in action. And I have all three." With that, he tapped the console in his mind, remembering the ancient weapon. Its hum returned, soft but strong. Vibrating through the forest, the queen's eyes widened. Hope returning, the villagers froze, the hum growing louder, a strange energy filling the air. Their eyes widened in fear. They had underestimated him, and now they felt the power they could not control. The queen stepped forward, her glow brightening. "Do not fear. Old man," she said softly, "we will face them together." The old man turned to the humans, his gaze piercing. "Leave now," he warned, "or regret it forever." For a moment silence filled the forest, broken only by the hum of the ancient weapon. The villagers hesitated, their greed and fear battling inside them. Some looked at the queen, seeing her glowing beauty and strength. Others looked at the old man, the one they had mocked, and felt a sudden chill in their hearts. Finally, slowly, they retreated, disappearing into the shadows. Leaving the old man and the queen alone, the old man let out a deep breath, relief washing over him, but he did not relax. He could feel the tension still in the air. He knew betrayal could come from anywhere, not just from enemies, but from those who once called him weak. The queen touched his shoulder gently, her glow warm. "You are brave, human, even when the world betrays you," she whispered. The old man looked at her, his eyes steady. "I have learned," he said, "mocked or betrayed, it does not matter. Courage and truth will guide me, and they will guide us through the battles ahead." And as the forest grew quiet again, the wind carrying distant echoes of approaching danger, the old man realized something powerful, something he had known deep inside for years, that no matter how many times he was mocked or betrayed, he would rise, he would fight, and he would protect those who trusted him. The night held its breath, and the old man, once forgotten, laughed quietly, a sound full of power and promise, because now even betrayal could not stop him. The night sky was alive with movement, enemy warships glinting under the moon. Their engines hummed like thunder, and the forest trembled beneath their presence. The old man stood at the cave entrance, his stick in one hand, the queen glowing beside him. The secret weapon hummed faintly. "Ready to obey his commands, are you ready?" the queen whispered, her voice steady but filled with tension. The old man nodded, feeling a fire he had not known for years. "I have waited for this," he said. "We will fight, and we will win." From the trees the enemy soldiers emerged, their armor dark, weapons sharp, eyes cold and merciless. The humans who had once mocked the old man now watched from the shadows, some in awe, some fearful. They had seen the glow of the queen, the hum of the weapon, and they knew the battle had already begun. The old man raised his hand, and the weapon responded. A beam of light shot upward, slicing through the darkness. Powerful and blinding, the enemy soldiers froze, shielding their eyes. The queen's glow mingled with the light, creating a force no one could ignore. "Move forward," the old man commanded, stepping into the open, his voice strong, carrying authority no one had ever expected from a mocked old man. The enemy hesitated, then attacked, their weapons firing, the air cracking with energy. The old man dodged and moved with surprising agility, his years of training returning with every step. He guided the queen, using the forest for cover, signaling her when to move, when to hide. Their movements were precise, almost like a dance, deadly and beautiful. The enemy tried to flank them, but the old man anticipated every move, his mind sharp. Remembering strategies from decades ago, he tapped the ancient weapon, sending pulses of energy through the forest, knocking enemy soldiers off balance and disabling their advanced weapons. The queen watched him with awe. "You are incredible," she whispered. "Even after all these years, you have not lost your skill." The old man glanced at her, a faint smile on his face. "I may be old, but I still remember what is important. Courage and strategy," he said. "Now we end this." Above, enemy warships hovered, preparing to fire. Their lasers cut through the sky, aiming for the forest, for the cave, for the queen. The old man shouted, and the weapon responded, creating a shield of light that deflected the blasts. The trees shook, the ground quaked, but the old man and the queen stood firm. The humans who had betrayed him watched in fear. Their plan had failed. They could not touch the queen, could not stop the weapon, could not stop the old man. They realized too late that they had underestimated him. Suddenly, a group of elite enemy soldiers rushed from the tree line. Faster and stronger than the rest, the old man met them with precision. His movements careful, calculated, each strike with his stick and the weapon's pulses was enough to knock them back. One by one they fell, unable to withstand the force of his skill and strategy. The queen joined the fight, her glowing energy blasting through the air, creating waves that sent enemies flying. Together they were unstoppable, a combination of human courage and alien power. The old man felt a surge of pride, knowing that the queen trusted him completely. Above the battle, the enemy commander appeared, larger and more terrifying than any soldier. His armor glinting, his eyes burning with hate. "You dare fight me?" he roared, sending a shockwave that shook the forest. The old man stood his ground, tapping the weapon one last time, a pulse of energy shooting straight at the commander. The queen followed, combining her power with his, creating a beam so strong that the commander was thrown back. Defeated but alive, forced to retreat, the forest grew quiet, only the hum of the weapon and the queen's glow remaining. The old man breathed deeply, his heart racing. His body tired but his spirit alive, he had won, at least for now. He had shown the world that he was not weak, not useless, not forgotten. The queen touched his arm gently, her eyes full of gratitude. "You have done it, human. You have saved your world and mine. Today you are not mocked, you are honored." The old man looked at the sky, at the retreating enemy ships, and whispered softly, "This is only the beginning, but I am ready." And in that moment, standing in the forest, surrounded by silence and the glow of victory, the old man, once mocked, once laughed at, finally felt the power of courage, strategy, and truth. The forest was quiet after the battle, the glow of the ancient weapon fading slowly. The enemy had retreated, their ships disappearing into the dark sky, and the few soldiers left scattered in fear. The old man stood tall, his chest heavy with exhaustion, his eyes scanning the horizon. The queen stepped forward, her glowing light brighter now, her wounds beginning to heal under her alien energy. She looked at the old man with awe and gratitude. "You have done more than I could have imagined," she whispered. "Without you, my people would be lost forever." The old man shook his head slowly. "It was not me alone," he said. "We fought together, you and I. Courage is not just mine. It belongs to those who believe, those who trust, those who stand when fear surrounds them." The queen smiled, a soft, warm glow emanating from her. "You have saved worlds. Human, not just mine, but yours as well. The people who mocked you, who laughed at you, they will remember now, they will see your true strength." The old man turned, thinking of the villagers who had betrayed him, the humans who had once called him useless. His lips curved into a faint, quiet smile. He did not need their praise, he did not need their approval. He had proven his worth in the eyes that truly mattered, in the queen's eyes, in the truth itself. The queen moved closer, her voice steady. "I want you to come with me, human. I want you to be honored among my people, to hold the respect you have earned, to be remembered for your courage, your wisdom, and your heart." The old man hesitated, looking at the glowing forest around him, the night sky stretching endlessly above. He had lived a life of solitude, of being laughed at, of being forgotten. Could he step into a world so different, a world where he would be celebrated? Finally, he nodded. "I will go with you," he said quietly, "but only to protect those who cannot protect themselves, only to ensure that courage and truth are never forgotten. Even if my name is never spoken again, my actions will remain." The queen's glow brightened, almost blinding in its intensity. She reached out her hand. "Then we will go together, human. You will not be alone." As they moved toward her waiting ship, the old man felt a strange peace, a sense of purpose he had not felt in decades. The mocked, the laughed at, the forgotten was now a hero, a savior and a guide. The forest seemed to hum softly, as if acknowledging his triumph. Even the stars above appeared to shine brighter, reflecting the courage of one man who had refused to give up. The queen turned to him, her voice gentle. "Do you know what you have done?" she asked. The old man looked at her, his eyes steady. "I have reminded the world that even the weakest, the oldest, the mocked, can hold the greatest power. It is not strength alone, but wisdom, courage, and heart that define a hero." The queen nodded, tears of light forming in her glowing eyes. "You have given hope to more than one world, human. You have saved countless lives. You have proven that respect is earned by action, not by age, wealth, or appearance." The old man smiled faintly, looking toward the horizon. "I only did what I could. And I will continue to do so. My life has been long, my struggles many, but this is my moment of truth. As the queen led him aboard her ship, the forest quiet once more, the stars sparkling above. The old man felt a lightness he had never known, no longer mocked, no longer ignored. He had found his place not in the words of others, but in the truth of his actions, and as the ship lifted off, carrying them into the unknown stars, the queen's voice echoed softly in his mind. You are remembered, human. Your courage will never fade. Your heart will guide the lost, and your story will inspire generations to come. The old man looked down at the glowing forest, at the village he had once walked past unnoticed, and whispered, Let them remember, but only after they learn what courage truly means. And in that quiet, glowing moment, the old man, once mocked and forgotten, felt the full weight of his journey. The battles fought, the sacrifices made, and the lives saved. He had become more than a soldier, more than a human. He had become a legend, a hero whose courage would shine across worlds. The queen touched his shoulder gently, her glow warm and steady. Come, human. The universe awaits, she whispered, and together they soared into the stars. A bond forged in trust, courage, and destiny.